Well, how are you this
I'm,
fine Friday night?
yes, it's 112 outside, but
Oh,
that's to be expected.
wow. Yeah, that is hot. I hope it's not too loud on my end because you can hear the waves crashing on the beach. So
Oh,
hopefully that's okay.
it's nice. No, I
I
don't hear.
know.
That's fine.
Okay. So you have had a very big day today. Why don't you tell us all about that? And
Well,
actually move your camera just a little bit up so we get your whole. Yes, perfect. Okay, good.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you had a big day. Who'd you talk to today?
I had three podcasts that were very interesting, and people were very much engaged. So I don't know where all they went, but or where they from. One was from well, I can't remember now. They were anyway. It's amazing how many people are reached in such a short period of time. I mean, it's really awesome.
I think you said one of the places was South Africa, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, it was.
was that yesterday? I don't know.
Yesterday was South
Oh,
Africa,
yeah.
yesterday. But today they were someplace here in the States, although part of one of them was traveling from New York to Boston, and he had stopped on the road. Yeah, I don't know.
It's amazing. And it's amazing that you have the stamina to do three. Like, that's a lot. Doing three podcasts in a day, which, just so all of our viewers know, this is going to be a little short session tonight because it's Friday night. You've had a long week, you've had a long day, but we wanted to just pop on and say hello. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's good to make contact again because I've missed you guys.
And they have missed you. And I personally miss you. So I miss you when we don't talk every week.
Katie, have we
Um,
done this for 3 years or something
I
like that?
think two. I think it's been two, a little over two,
Uh-huh. Isn't that
which is amazing.
yeah, it's a
And
month.
I remember when we started, and I thought, Gladys, you have 800 followers, and they want to hear from you. So let's just do, And my intention was, I had no idea that you would actually want to be doing this. And so I thought in my own head, I was like, well, maybe she'll do it for a couple of months and I remember saying to you, like, we'll do it as long as you want to and as long as you're having fun. And 2 years later, look where we are, and you have 22,000 followers.
Isn't that nice?
It's so amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, update us. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about stem cell and how you're feeling about how that's playing out in your body.
It's very subtle. For a couple of days after I get them, I'm sleepy. I mean,
Mm.
I it's hard to get from one place to the other without wanting to go to sleep, which I think is kind of interesting. The cells are finding their place, but then they start settling in, and I'll feel either a sharp itch in a weird place, like in the palm of my hand, or at the tip of my little toe, or
Hmm.
middle of my back, and it'll just last a few minutes and then it's gone. So I don't know what's going on there, but I do think that my knees are stronger, and that my legs are stronger. I'm still able to go up and down the steps to my bedroom. I have to still climb with my hanging onto the rail, and I don't trust myself to just straight walk across a room because it just doesn't work with Yep, you need to use my walker, but all of that. And my right eye is definitely better. So those things are there. But you had some experience with stem cells.
Well, so I have used on occasion those little patches that activate the stem cells in your body. So I don't think they have stem cells in them. I think you put them on, I don't know exactly how they work, but they're activated so that they increase the stem cells in your body. And so when I just went to Canada last week, and it was a 12-hour drive up there, my right knee has a little something going on in there. So I put those patches on my knee, because sitting for a long period of time really makes it hard to get up. And I felt pretty good. And prior, I had used them in the past, and I didn't really notice a big difference, but this time I did. So I think there's absolutely something about stem cell use for sure.
I think there's a real future with that. Part of it being allowing ourselves to access our own stem cells, because I've done that and found it to be very, very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So is the doctor that is doing the infusions for you,
Yeah.
like, did they do blood work before? Like, is there monitoring to see like how your body from a statistical perspective is shifting?
No, they're just watching what's going on, and I'm watching what's going on. I did have my eyes tested before and after, and definitely there's improvement in my right eye. The left eye is not as it has glaucoma, and it hasn't seemed to have much effect on that, but definitely my right eye is better.
Great. Yeah, it's really remarkable. The other thing that I have worked with a woman, she's a chiropractor. Her name is Dr. Mindy Pelz, P-E-L-Z. And she is on a mission to help people regain their health through intermittent fasting. And so I've done some stuff with her, and there's a whole thing about, I think it's at 72 hours of fasting, your stem cells get a massive boost. So there are ways to increase your own stem cell rejuvenation through fasting, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's so exciting. So you were just going to do the 3 and then let it rest for a while. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Good. And so the other thing we thought about just having a little brief conversation about is dreams.
Absolutely.
So you have been a big dream advocate and use that in your practice and in your own life for your, like,
right.
How long? Like, when did you start really utilizing dreams as a way to help you?
About 1955, when we started our study group, and we were looking at our, following our dreams, and it's been, sometimes I'm more in tune with them, and sometimes I'm not. But there have been times when we just worked with dreams amazingly. I told you about the dream that led me to the word FemiFest, didn't I?
Well, I think you need to say that again, because I know we have so many new viewers, so maybe there's a lot of people that haven't heard that.
In this dream, I woke up with a huge crash, and I woke up and I wasn't completely awake, but I was kind of awake, and I found myself in the high Himalayas in a valley, and on the right-hand side, there was a young girl just splayed out on the ground, just barely breathing. And on the left hand, there was a huge man in armor, strong man, just splayed out on the ground, also barely breathing. And the word came down to me that these two forces have been pounding each other like they're fists together for eons. It's time they put their fingers together and understood who they are and what they are. That was basically the dream. I woke up then, and I called this friend of mine, Rosalie Deerhart in Virginia Beach, who is, I've talked to her about my dreams before, and we were talking about the whole concept of manifestation. We were trying to manifest something. And she said, I've been thinking about another word. She says, the word femifestation, I think, is a word that we need to really start looking at. And the wonderful thing about this was the way it fit in with my dream was that I realized that in my dream, the girl was on the right hand, which is the masculine side. The guy was on the left hand, which was the feminine side. And those two forces were really battling in this this world of duality that we have, and almost killing each other. Time to really begin to understand who we are. So as we talked about it, we realized that the whole concept of manifestation was like climbing a ladder, like Jacob's ladder. You get a degree, you start your practice, you buy a house, you manifest something on this earth. And we as women have been trying really, really hard to manifest as well as men. And I don't think that's our job. I think that we need to femifest well so that the manifestation can be done properly. Now, the femifestation is like a spiral, not a Jacob's ladder. It's a spiral. And we can be up at the fifth rung of the spiral and know what's going on down at the second rung. It's a whole different process of our understanding of how we deal with life and how we work with things. And so when we can understand that, like with a pregnancy, okay, in a pregnancy, the baby is totally femifesting because that baby is part of the mother. Everything the mother eats, when the mother sleeps, everything the mother does, that baby is part of. So for 9 months approximately, the baby is femifesting within the mother's body. But when it's time to be born and the baby takes his first breath, he immediately takes responsibility for herself and becomes a person. She's completely separate. Now has manifested who she is. And it's that we live in a dual world. We need to be aware of how we fit in, and that there are two really good ways of dealing with this, but we need to understand them. And a woman's way of manifesting is different from a man's way of dealing with femifesting. So it's fascinating, isn't it?
It is. And so when you use your dreams, like did that like you woke up, you called your friend, you talked about the dream, and then it just sort of unravels in your understanding. Is that right?
Yeah.
And so is that part of the Edgar Cayce, like, was that where your dream idea of using dreams came from? Is your work with the Edgar Cayce information?
Probably, although I talked about them when we were kids with my parents, but and I know that I talked about dreams with my kids, but not to the extent that we understood what they were trying to say. We didn't really begin to look at our dreams for guidance from within ourselves. Understood that we could do that. So you've had some dreams.
I did. I had, well, so you have, you know, you inspired me when you were saying how when you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't go back to sleep, and I was talking to my sister Kelly about this, and she said that she was able to apply your ideas of just going down memory lane and like having this lovely like little thing about remembering all the good things. Well, this week I just couldn't, I was awake and I could not go there. And my mind was just going all over the place. And so when I finally fell back to sleep at like 6 in the morning, often I find that when that happens to me and I fall asleep, I can go into a deep sleep and then I have this like dream that, and usually do you find that it's always those important dreams that you remember?
Yeah.
That are like so, you know, and I wake up and I thought, oh, this one I need to remember. So mine was, and I was asking before, like, so what I followed your advice about, ask your dreams, say, help me, I need clarity, I need something, right?
Yeah.
And so my dream was, if you want me to tell you what my dream was?
Yes.
So I was crossing a river and I was on a bridge and it was a low bridge and it was made of cement. And my car, whatever car I was in, I was driving it, but it went off. It just sort of slid off and it slid into the mud because the bridge was kind of broken and it wasn't functioning as a bridge anymore. But so my car slid into this mud and I had to climb up out of the car. And I looked ahead and on the other side, there were people walking and I yelled out to, interestingly, the two men I've been in relationships with, my ex-husband and my current partner, and I called their names and they didn't respond. And so I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm on my own. So I climbed out of the car and I started to walk across, but I kept sinking into the mud, like up to my chest. And then I would have to drag myself out and pull myself up. And then I kept going. And I finally got to the other side of the bridge. And I was walking on a boardwalk. And for some interesting reason, I didn't have my shirt on, but I was holding my shirt. But I didn't feel like embarrassed or shameful, like, oh my gosh, I don't have a shirt on. I was just walking without my shirt on. And this guy walks up and starts walking with me and we're talking and I'm telling him what happened. And I know that I know him from somewhere, but I don't know who he is. But I know that he's familiar. And he finally says to me, well, I can give you a ride home. I have a Carmen Ghia and I'll go get my Carmen Ghia and I'll give you a ride home. And I was like, oh, that would be amazing. And so he leaves to go get his car. And at that point, I think, I should probably put my shirt on. So I put my shirt on and I'm waiting for him to come get me. And then I wake up.
You must have been going through some deep emotional stuff at that.
Yes. It's been an interesting week.
Because the mud is water and dirt.
Right.
But it's got you stuck. And really, no one was available to you to help you get out, but you've done it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You've reached to the most exposed part of your being, your chest, your love chakra, the love center. You reached to that, and you've not been embarrassed by it. You didn't have your shirt on. That was okay, because you needed to really understand that this is where you're moving out of whatever it was that had broken the bridge and caused the car to mess up and so on. But you had gotten out of there with your exposed heart chakra. And this other guy turns up who's from out of no place, but you know he's real. and offers you a ride. Now, it's the fact that you had the people that you depended on to help you get out of hard places, the guys, they weren't available to you.
Mm-hmm.
This other person who was unexpected was available to you. So there means that there's a masculine energy manifesting someplace along your path. It may not actually be a man, but it might be some kind of actual manifestation energy that is coming your way, and you're going to be able to put your shirt on and go on with your life.
Yeah, that was sort of how I took it to mean. And also I thought about the dropping the car was like, you know, I know cars can symbolize the vehicle and the way that you move through the world. So it was sort of letting go of a particular way of moving through the world and moving into another way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you crossed the bridge.
Right, right.
And the bridge was broken. It wasn't you. It wasn't anything that was going wrong with you. It was that the circumstances of the bridge had collapsed.
Yeah, it was super interesting.
Does it fit?
It totally fits.
Yeah.
And that was like I woke up, and you know, like when you sleep hard and you wake up and you're like, oh, I felt like it was so hard to wake up, but I knew that that dream was a really powerful dream and I needed to remember that, and I wrote it down. But also I find that those dreams, when they're that powerful and meaningful, it's super easy to remember them.
Yes, yes.
Because it's so kinesthetic, you know, like yeah. So anyway, it was just, yeah, it was really interesting.
Yep.
So
well, I recommend, even if you don't think the dream is particularly important, if you remember it and you can write it down, then think about it, because sometimes just the thinking about it, but if you have somebody to talk to about it and work with it, it does help.
yeah, my sister, I was telling her about it, and she thought, she said what sparked her was when I mentioned the guy that came to help me and said he would pick me up or take me home in the Karmann Ghia. Our uncle, he was a medical doctor in Vietnam. He was an amazing surgeon, amazing guy, died super young, but he had a Karmann Ghia. And she was like, oh, I just got a hit that was Uncle Roger coming to help you.
There you go, you know?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, so interesting. So what would you how do you tell people to work with their dreams? Like before you go to bed, do you set yourself up to, like, how can we help people so that they can utilize their dreams?
Have a dream journal beside your bed and a pen with it, so that when you do wake up, it's right there. You don't have to go fishing for it or what. And tell yourself when you're going to sleep, particularly if you have an issue that you are wanting to understand why something is something. But even if it's not that, if it just, you really think you want to get some understanding, or just plain ask yourself, is there something that I need to know? And then ask yourself to remember your dreams. And if you don't, that's okay. You don't right now, but then along the line you may. But if you're not trying to remember your dreams, you're less apt to remember them. If you start telling yourself you're going to remember them, you're much more apt to remember them. And they're much more apt to be something that really helps you.
And so in the course of your practice, you have encouraged lots of your patients, I'm guessing,
Oh,
to utilize their dreams, and it's been incredibly helpful for a lot of people.
a lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot of times patients will come in and say, well, I don't dream. And then I suggested, next time I see them, they say, and I had a dream.
So kind of like the stem cells, and that it's a resource in our bodies that can heal, help heal ourselves. Our dreams are just another tool that we can use to get some insight into the inner workings of our body, our mind, our soul, our spirit.
It's our unconscious mind making contact with our conscious mind.
Love that. Love that. Okay, well, on that note, because we said we were going to keep this short tonight so that you can, you've been talking a lot today. Is there anything else you want to say or mention about anything before we say goodbye to everybody?
No, I think it's time to look and see what the future is going to bring.
Great. Great.
And we'll be back on that regular schedule next week, John says.
Yeah, so next Tuesday we will be live at 1 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday. And somebody also asked, after I mentioned intermittent fasting, I just want to reply to them. You can check out, her name is Dr. Mindy, Pelz. Check her out on YouTube. And you can type in stem cells, and she does an amazing job. She has a million videos explaining how intermittent fasting works. So you can just go check her out. So I just wanted to respond to that question. And with that, we shall say fare thee well.
Thanks.
And
Have
happy Friday night.
And dream well.
Dream well. We are about to have a massive thunderstorm here, so it's a good time for me to sign off before the thunder and lightning starts hitting. So dream well, sleep well, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right, Gladys. I love you. Have a great weekend.
Yes.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody, for being with us. We love it. Keep the questions coming.
Yep.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There. Okay, I'm still live.
Right. So you're going to hit the X at the top right corner.